Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly board session. We're here in the Senator Hearing Room. It's Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020, and it's 9:01 a.m. As always, we start with a pledge of allegiance, so if you'd please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We don't have any public comment, so we're going to start off with Katrina Rothenberger. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Katrina Rothenberger. I'm the Public Health Division Director for Marion County Health and Human Services and providing COVID-19 update for today. As of yesterday, we had 981 cases and 956 positive tests, 10,008 negative tests, and 26 deaths. Today, the Oregon Health Authority will be releasing work sites with with outbreaks of 5 or more employees. So, and these work sites are defined by 30 or more employees. So we expect that a number of work sites in Marion County will be released today. That's not just the long-term care facilities, but also other places of business. And there will be some named here in Marion County later today. Traditionally, it's been up to the work site to release information, but now Oregon Health Authority will be taking that over to provide some consistency statewide. We've also updated our data dashboard to include some more demographic information. It has race and ethnicity, our daily testing rate, and hospitalizations and deaths by age and gender. So there's quite a bit of new information on there that I encourage everyone to take a look at. Looking at the previous 2 weeks, this report was pulled on June 1st. By zip code, we call it our cluster report, and every zip code saw a decrease in cases with the exception of 97301 and 97305. They saw a slight increase in the previous 2 weeks. There were 23 new cases in 97301 and 24 new cases in 97305. So we want to make sure that we are keeping an eye on these areas and providing support where we can. We've also been looking at the phase 2 reopening criteria and monitoring where we stand with that so that we can be in a position to apply based on what our cases look like. And some of those criteria include timely follow-up, successful contact tracing, and no significant increases in the percent positivity or new cases. So where we are today, we're looking pretty good for both the initial gating criteria and the phase 2 criteria. So that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Katrina. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Katrina, 97301, Oregon State Penitentiary.
No.
That's our zip code right here.
Mm-hmm, right. 97301, Central Salem.
Right.
That's not the Department of Corrections.
What zip code would Department of Corrections use?
I would need to limit.
For all their facilities or for just the one?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you could share a little bit about that status. The numbers that we know come from the Department of Corrections in our community in Marion County.
OCI and San Am ought to be 301s too.
Yeah, so in the past 14 days, we had 123 new cases in Marion County, and 17 of those were in the Oregon State Penitentiary. And we have a handful of cases in McLaren and the San Am Correctional Institution as well. I don't have the exact numbers for that in front of me, but it is 17 for the pen and handful in the others, or around 5 or so.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do you mind if I add something about our work with community corrections and the prison release? So we've been working closely with our partners in Marion County Community Corrections and with Oregon Health Authority and DHS to come up with a workflow to support folks who don't have COVID, but they're coming from an endemic facility, or they are COVID positive, and we're working together to figure out how we can support these folks with appropriate housing and testing and transportation and wraparound services. So we're going to be meeting weekly with Community Corrections and DHS, and we've already got that work started, and we're looking forward to working together to support these folks coming out of the prison.
Thank you, Katrina, for all your work. Sure appreciate it.
I have to, I talked to Katrina before the meeting and was watching the goings on in Portland and what her opinion, I hate to put her on the spot publicly, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but just wondering what the transmissibility problems will happen from those crowds rolling around like they are. I see most with masks, but they're certainly in close proximity for times. So in a week or so, we get a test, and that's what I was asking her about, that maybe we can be freer than we want, or maybe it really bears out that we got more problems ahead. So I'm sorry to do that to you.
That's okay, yeah. I think the question will be whether or not people tell us that they were at a protest or not. You know, if we can attribute it to a specific area, that would be one thing, but there might not be a way to tell except for that little spike in cases in a week from now. So we do try and get to the bottom of every single case and figure out where it came from, whether household transmission or other congregate settings. So if people are forthcoming and tell us about where they were, then maybe we can attribute to a specific event or protest.
I hope it's just a little spike. So you'll add to your questions, have you been out of the country or in Portland lately? That's.
We take a detailed history of the previous 2 weeks.
All right.
You'd be pretty good at this job.
Oh, I think so. I might
You
be
would.
a tracer, is that what they're called? Thank you.
Thanks, Katrina.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have our consent agenda, and is it Commissioner Brentano's turn?
I think so. Just because there's no hard words on it, it must be mine. Chair Willis, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar this morning. In it, under business services, we approve amendment number 2 to the contract for services with Cascade Centers, adding $11,000 for a new contract total of $106,000 for consulting and employee assisted programs through December 31st, 2020. We also approve an order approving the recommended revisions to the Retirement Plans Committee Charter document. In Clerk's Office, approve amendment number 3 to the contract for services with Hart Intercivic Incorporated, adding $84,120 for a new contract total of $1,034,666.20 for the annual renewal of warranty, support, and license for the county's vote tabulation system used in Marion County elections through June 30th, 2022. Public Works schedule adoption of administrative ordinance for June 10th, 2020 for legislative amendment case 20-001, amending Marion County Code Title 17 related to temporary hardship dwellings.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Next up, we have Tamara Getch, and we're going to consider approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the Marion County Extension and 4-H Service District in the amount of $2,201,354 for the county to provide administrative, professional, and technical services to the district.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tamara Getch, Community Services Director. I also serve as the budget and administrator of the service district that you just mentioned. Before you in your electronic packet, there is a contract that I discovered an error in. I've handed you a hard copy of a contract that I'd like for you to see today. So before we get to that, I just want to make sure that you have that. But before we get to the details of this contract, just give you a little backdrop and be able to provide you and our viewers with some information about the service district. So in 2015, voters approved the creation of a service district for Marion County to support OSU Extension and 4-H services. We've been operating since that time, have been able to enjoy a sustained support through the various services, whether it be small farms, 4-H for young people, looking at investigating different crops in Marion County, et cetera. And this contract between Marion County and the service district helps to support all of the functioning of the service district. So the service district is its own entity. However, as an employee of Marion County, I work with legal counsel, finance, and all of the other internal infrastructure departments needed to make sure that we can do our business as a service district. So in turn, we then allow the county to charge the service district for those services. And this contract allows that to happen. And it just spells out how it's going to ferret out for the coming year. As I mentioned, there is a change that is needed in Section 4 of the contract that was online. And I'm just going to read for the record the language that should be there so the viewers can see that. Under funding and billing, 4.1, the total amount paid under this contract shall not exceed the budgeted amount authorized by the district governing body. Payments under this contract shall be made according to the following terms. County shall determine the fee the district owes to the county for services provided pursuant to this agreement under the budget process. County shall bill district in July for services provided since July 1 of the previous year. District shall pay county within 30 days of receipt of the county's bill. So this language, is the language that we're going to have you sign today, and then I'll take this contract back to the district on June 22nd, of which we'll be looking at the budget for the coming year that this contract will be attached to. Any questions?
I just want to clarify, so in the contract we have, it says January, is that right? And you're
Correct, and
July.
what we worked with legal counsel on the language with this, and it should be what is actually happening. When this contract was originally written, which the one that you have is the original language of the first agreement, and we thought we're going to be billed in January and then we'll be billed in July. But what actually happens is come July of the following year, we then ask for we do an invoice and get paid for that previous year's services. So the language that the amended language allows for us to document what we actually do.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I wouldn't have caught it, so I'm glad she looks it over that finally.
Yeah, comment.
I was just gonna say, I think this change is fine. The contract that was posted references January 2016, which we clearly can't do. So this is not a substantive change. This just reflects, is really a Scrivener's error that's being corrected by the board today.
All right, so that's all clear. So, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve an intergovernmental agreement with Marion County Extension and 4-H Service District in the amount of $2,201,354 for the county to provide administrative, professional, and technical services to the district, and to authorize the cooperative financing of the district services through June 30th, 2025.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our intrepid juvenile director, Troy Gregg, and Bruce Armstrong. and we're going to consider approval of the ratification of the Marion County Juvenile Employees Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. That is a mouthful. Good morning, Troy.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Troy Gregg, Juvenile Director, and my partner in crime today is Bruce Armstrong.
For the record, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Senior Assistant Legal Counsel.
And today we are here for you to consider the ratification of the MCJE Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. That's the juvenile employees. This is a union that is specific to the juvenile department and includes staff both in the guaranteed attendance program and in our detention facility. So there's not a whole lot of different changes going on. Some of it is just clarification of just language, and I will walk through those for you and then just kind of lay them out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So the main changes that started out was similar to the other unions is with the Janus decision. And so in Article 3, former sections 1 through 3 were removed as they made reference following the Janus decision, removed the fair share language. And Section 2 also, former Section 5, removed the fair share reference to follow the Janus decision as well. The next change was in Article 10. For health and welfare, it raised the insurance premium cap in subsequent years $50, so from $15.46 to $15.96, and then 2022 from $15.96 to $16.46. We made an agreement on a wage adjustment, and then effective July 1st, 2020, there's a 2% COLA, and effective July 1st, 2021, we have a 1.75% COLA. Article 12, the administration of the pay plan, we just clarified for personnel rules the difference between working out of classification and acting in capacity. That needed to be updated within the contract, so we did that. And Article 13, sorry, I'm running through here, but we removed or paid within 1 year of accrual. Within that language was for comp time, they can accrue only up to 40 hours. And then there was this kind of really generic statement that said, or paid within 1 year of accrual, which was kind of a nightmare to try to track that piece of it. And so we had an arbitrary date where we picked, and it was just kind of a difficult time to try to manage and make sure it happened. So we just removed that language altogether. They get paid out if they go over 40 hours, but it's not within 1 year of accrual. Article 25, filling of vacancies, just changing language from open list to interview list, so that's following personnel rules for the county. Changing of the date of the agreement to 2020 of July 1st through June 30th of 2022. And then the last part was extending our shift trade letter of agreement, which allows for staff to have a little bit more flexibility in scheduling time off while at the same time not creating overtime or other charges to the county. So it was good. I'm very thankful for the team that bargained. This was obviously, as you've heard from several different folks with it, a very different time when it came to bargaining, a really kind of unique setting, but the team did very well, and I'm thankful for all the work, especially Angelique Bolton for the work that she's done to get all this stuff organized, keep us on track, and make sure that we're done. So, Bruce?
I would just add one thing, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, that we were here, Colleen Coombs-Chafins and I were here 2 weeks ago with the MCEA contract. Some of the distinctions were we kind of wrapped things up more quickly given the COVID situation, but we started a little bit earlier with MCEA, and MCJEA got going a few weeks later, so we hadn't as advanced as far with this contract negotiation. So you'll notice there are fewer changes within this one. We kind of aimed for the finish line with wanting to focus on our work given COVID. So that's why there are fewer changes in this contract. And in coming weeks, there's another one hopefully heading your way that has even fewer changes, I'd say. So
Which one is that?
that's the Health ONA, the
ONA.
Nurses Association.
Questions?
No, we've had our chance for questions.
Well, thank you. Troy.
Welcome. Good to see you guys. It's been
Appreciate
a
all your
while.
work on this.
So if I could, then I would make a motion that we do approve the ratification of the Marion County Juvenile Employees Association Collective Bargaining Agreement.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have Ryan Cruther, and we're considering approval of the Public Improvement Agreement with Blackline Incorporated in the amount of $138,262.14 to provide furnishing and application of Type 2 slurry seal through September 3rd, 2021. Morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Ryan Cruther, Marion County Capital Projects Manager. As you said, here to talk about our slurry seal contract. So this year's contract includes roads both in East Salem that are Marion County roadways and in the City of Stayton. The City of Stayton has joined us in this contract and will be paying for the roads in the city. We also extended the offer to most of the other cities within the county. Unfortunately, City of Stayton was the only one who could take us up this year on it this year. Many others are hoping to join next year. Our construction plan includes slurry sealing these roads. What slurry seal is, it's a cost-effective application of a mixture of water, asphalt emulsion, and aggregate that seals the roadway, extends the useful life of the roadway. It's a maintenance activity that we can do on these roads. So this contract includes 22 sections of county roadway for a total of 2.59 miles. These are all local roadways. It's a good application for those local roads. It also includes 11 sections of road within the City of Stayton for a total of 1.73 miles. And the City of Stayton's funding the work through a separate IGA with Marion County. So we got bids. The bids came in very good this year. Marion County's cost is $86,030.10. City of Salem's portion is $52,232.04 for a total contract amount of $138,262.14. Construction is expected to occur between July and September of this year. And with that, I'd ask if you have any questions.
Any questions for Ryan?
Could I see the list of Marion County projects again, Ryan? A little hard. Just looking for Church Street and Sublimity. Does that happen to be on there?
It's not, but it's not on with our slurry seal.
Oh, that might mean more strenuous activities on it? It's breaking down real bad. I think we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
This looks great, Ryan. Thank you. Any questions?
No, just because I'm on the subject. One of the few things I've accomplished in my years of being here, and perhaps Colm, you wouldn't even know, Kevin, you might, but there's a series of manhole covers in Center Street in Sublimity that are right in the tire tracks. And I complained and they got raised a year or two ago. But it's getting bumpy again.
I
So,
know about this.
you
I
do?
remember thinking, wow, that's power.
Yeah, but it takes 16
Just-
or so years to
just
even be
one
able to bring
phone
it
call.
up.
Just one phone call, and the bumps get leveled. I mean, I was impressed, Commissioner.
Well, it's falling down is what I'm telling you. So perhaps you could, before it does get bad again, see if there's a way to buff them up a little bit. It shouldn't shake you driving through town.
There might be an underlying problem there if they fixed it and it's already going back.
It is a problem, putting manholes right in the the roadway. Anyway, that's off this subject. But Kevin, you do want to comment, I can see it.
Yeah, I've been through there, but I know when you drive really, really slow, the bumps, you feel them a lot more. If you drive the speed limit, the bumps don't hit you as hard.
I'm just afraid of biting my tongue if I go any faster.
Oh, are we ready for a motion, or did we already make a motion?
We are, and I think it's yours.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the public improvement agreement with Blackline, Inc. in the amount of $138,262.14 to provide furnishing and application of the Type 2 slurry seal through September 3rd, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Very good. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes our action agenda, so we're about to move into public hearings, but before we do, I want to recognize Crystal Spinner, who's in the back here, is our new employee in the board's office, and we're very excited to have her. So welcome, Crystal. We're excited to work with you. Okay.
Oh, wait, Mr. Chair, it's not 9:30 yet.
Oh, look at that.
So you have to say more about Crystal.
The question is she excited to work with us?
Well, she came back for the third day. I had that discussion with her, so
It was
there's a
kinda-
chance,
it was-
yeah.
Yeah, you were worried there, weren't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
She says if you don't get those manhole covers fixed in Sublimity,
I'm out.
I'm gone. That's what I heard.
I think she's looking at that Staten work, saying, that's pretty good.
Really?
You know she's from this side of 22,
I know.
right? Yeah.
It's
You
all
can't
right.
hold that against her.
I didn't. Is that what you, no. Not at all.
Okay, so we have, what, 2 minutes or 3 minutes that we have to wait? Okay, great. Well,
You're taking
I guess
a
we'll
break?
take a recess.
You want to check the real time before you just, okay.
Service District. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this morning. For the record, I'm Dennis Mansfield. I'm the Administrative Division Manager for Marion County Public Works, and I'm also the District Secretary for the East Salem Service District. And with me is
Scott Norris from the Office of Legal Counsel.
Today we are having the second of 2 public hearings to consider adding park services to the East Salem Service District, further identified as ESSD. For the benefit of the public, I'll provide some context on how we got here today. The Santana Village Park Association, a nonprofit organization run entirely by volunteers, approached the ESSD Advisory Committee in August of 2019, requesting financial support related to the maintenance and upkeep of the Santana Village Park, located within the ESSD boundaries. The advisory committee met a couple of times to discuss options, and at the regularly scheduled meeting of the ESSD governing body on January 22nd, made a recommendation to the governing body to add park services, for which the governing body agreed to begin the formation process. We held our first public hearing on May 6th, with which we received one comment from a member of the public who was concerned about the lack of community outreach and adding an additional fee to the citizens of ESSD. I'd like to point out that the process that we are going through now and the order that is in front of you for approval only provides the authority for the governing body of ESSD to consider park services within those boundaries. Without this authority, no consideration of park services can be made within that area. There is nothing in the order about supporting Santana Village Park in any way, nor assessing any type of fee to the citizens of ESSD. As such, should the commissioners approve the order in front of them today, we will begin public outreach, starting with the neighborhood association within the area of Santana Village Park, which is known as ESNA. Our plan is to have a town hall style meeting to present the request from the Santana Village Park Association and to provide an opportunity for the citizens to ask questions and give feedback. With the information in hand, we will have a meeting of the advisory committee to discuss citizen feedback and the various options. Should the result of that advisory committee meeting end in a recommendation, then a special meeting of the governing body will be requested, in which the advisory committee will present their recommendation for the governing body to consider. All of these meetings I've identified are public meetings, and the public is welcome to attend. At each point along the way, we will keep in touch with the neighborhood association to ensure they are aware of when and where the meetings will be, as well as posting the public meetings with our required media outlets. Before you is an order to consider adding park services within ESSD. There are 3 options to consider. Approve the order to add park services within the ESSD boundaries. Continue the hearing to a future date to allow for further comment from the public, or direct staff to prepare an order dismissing the addition of park services to ESSD. Staff and the Advisory Committee of ESSD recommends approval of the order to add park services within ESSD boundaries. With that, I'll turn it over to Scott.
Thank you, Commissioners. Once again, I'm Scott Norris from the Office of Legal Counsel. As mentioned previously, this is the second of 2 public hearings on the issue of adding park services to the East Salem Service District. By statute, if 15% or 100 electors, whichever is less, do not submit written requests for an election on the subject, then the board may issue an order following the second public hearing formally adding park services to the East Salem Service District. Upon issuance of that order, that's the final step in the process of adding a new service to a county service district. So if the board were to issue the order today as proposed, that would be the end of the formal process before the Board of Commissioners. With that, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
No, I think this action Mr. Chair, if I may, this action we were taking today, and I just want to clarify, this is not tax, this is not an assessment, this just allows us to form the Parks District along with the Public Safety District and the other things that we already do in in East Salem, the new city that we call it.
Marion.
New Marion. And at some point in time, and I really appreciate Public Works talking about reaching out to the neighbors and gathering more information and having, like we did with the Public Safety Service District. This is a little bit different as far as the process, but having those hearings or having those town halls and reaching out is really important. So I know we'll be doing that.
And I see this is, oh, sorry, Commissioner.
Well, excuse me, but so the first hearing, I didn't feel real good about notice given and you at least say that it's better. What's different this time? And before I have you answer, kind of for me, no comments doesn't mean people aren't interested. It always worries me that they don't know.
We do have
And
somebody sign up for public
I
comment.
wonder if, we'll get to those, but, so just what's different in terms of notification, and I heard you say outreach in the future after this process, but anything for this particular hearing that lets me be satisfied people know what's going on?
We did not reach out outside of just our normal media outlets. We noted the public hearing. I did reach out to the citizen that did provide concerns and talk with her for an extended period of time. In fact, she's actually going to be a part of the advisory committee. She just turned in her application, so interested in being a part of that. So no additional outreach had been made yet. There was some concern about the confusion of that and what this part of it entails. And so we felt like it would best be to start that outreach should you approve today's order of adding the authority to have park services and ESSD.
Fine, but then, I guess then the only place it shows up if people are dissatisfied is when you actually propose true services and expenses and ways to collect those.
Correct. And that's where we're going to the town hall.
Sure.
That's our next step, is to work with the neighborhood association to actually have those conversations.
And I'm not trying to generate opposition, but I want to make sure that they have that opportunity. So they'll be there and we can get a feel for what people really think of it in those town halls then.
Absolutely.
But the public hearing should accomplish that same thing, just so you know.
Okay.
And nobody's here.
Correct. Okay.
Well, and I want to clarify, we're not assessing a fee on anybody, right?
No, not
Correct.
yet.
No fee. No.
And we wouldn't do that without getting input from
Absolutely.
people.
Right.
Right, okay.
Correct.
So I just see this as supporting, I know that the neighborhood has basically supported this park, and they're asking for us to sort of help them and support the park. And
Correct.
I think sometimes you can feel a little bit like you're fighting uphill if, it's you and your neighbors trying to make it. And I think it's a nice service for the county to support that effort, so.
Just one more point, just so people know, it isn't just Santana. When Denny and Parkdale are there, and maybe future parks in the area could be funded or affected by it.
Correct.
Okay. Should we give, looks like Doug Vandergrind? Did you want to make a comment?
Not particularly.
Okay.
You wanted me to, I'm here to do that.
Well, you signed up and you made the drive, so
Well,
we'd be happy to hear from you.
They said
We need
that-
him on a
No,
microphone.
I made the walk.
You made
Oh.
the walk.
They said if I signed up, I'd get a copy of the decision, because I says I'm not particularly interested in testifying unless you want to hear from me.
Well, we won't make you if you don't want to, but we'll get you a copy of the decision.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, any other discussion or questions? No? All right, Sam, do you want to make a motion here?
So there is no
Commissioner
one else
Montano?
signed up to speak?
There's no one else signed up to speak.
Okay. Well, then I would make a motion, we close the public hearing, and let's see. Well, we close the public hearing, what do we
And
recommend?
approve the
Yeah,
order
I'll
to add
find
park
it.
services. That's right.
Close the public hearing, and recommendation of staff is to approve the order to add park service to the ESSD. That wasn't so hard.
I'll second that easy motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Commissioners.
This hearing is closed. We'll now open a public hearing to consider zone change comprehensive plan conditional use ZCCPCU case number 19-002, TLM Holdings LLC. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Joe Fenimore. This is an application to take exceptions to statewide goals 3 and 14, agricultural lands and urbanization, change the comprehensive plan designation from primary agriculture to public and semi-public, and to change the zone from EFU to public with a conditional use permit to establish airport-related uses on about a 16-acre parcel. After this hearing was scheduled, staff found that the notice was defective and informed the applicant of the issue. On May 29th, the applicant submitted a letter requesting the board continue this hearing to June 24th so adequate notice can be provided. Staff recommends the hearing be continued. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I have a question for legal counsel. We did get a couple of letters here, I guess, commenting on this. Do I need to read these into the record?
I don't think they need to be. They're part of the record.
They're part of the record.
Yes.
Okay, and because, well, I guess we have to make this decision. If we continue this hearing,
They're still part of the record.
and we'll continue to take
Absolutely.
testimony.
The record is open.
Is open?
Yes.
Okay. And the proposal is to continue the hearing to which date?
June 24th.
June 24th, which is roughly 3 weeks from today.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioners?
No.
Is there anybody else signed up?
There's no one else signed up for public comment? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we continue the public hearing on date certain, June 24th.
And hold the record open, is
Yeah,
that
and hold the
important?
record until, what, 5 p.m. the day before? Is that what you usually do?
Correct.
Hold the record open until 5 p.m., June 23rd.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
So this hearing is continued, June 24th. And with that, we'll close that public hearing. Okay, that concludes our agenda. Do you have the calendar today, or do I?
Well, I've been given an updated version.
You can give an updated version. Well, since you have the updated version, maybe you should read it. What do you think?
Fine, I'd just be tickled to. Chair Wills, we have a busy
See
week
what I
coming up. Today at 11 o'clock, a BOC policy meeting. That'll be in the Commissioners Boardroom, and that's on the 5th floor, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. And following that at noon till 1:30, SEDCOR Quarterly Board of Directors meeting. That's a Zoom meeting. Thursday, 7 o'clock to 8:30, also a Zoom meeting, Salem Chamber Public Policy meeting. That's followed at 9:30 for department head and elected officials meeting, Commissioners Boardroom, again here at 5th floor, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. Also Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30, a Marion County Stakeholders meeting, Commissioners Boardroom. Thursday the 4th, 3 o'clock to 4, Mid-Valley Economic Recovery Team, that's a Zoom meeting. Next Monday, 8:30, calendar review, Commissioners Boardroom. That's followed pretty much immediately by management update, also in the Commissioners Boardroom at 9 o'clock. Then there is from 3 to 4:30, Association of Oregon Counties Listening Post meeting. Google Meet, it says. That's something new for us, but we'll learn another technique. And then I think we're going to do this in person. 7:30 to 8:30, State and Marion County meeting, Covered Bridge Cafe, 510 North 3rd in Staten. They haven't figured out how to get that breakfast through on Zoom. Just so you know, I've missed that.
That Marionberry Jam.
I know it.
It's calling your name.
Then at 9 o'clock, calendar review, Commissioners Boardroom, that's again on the 9th. And that'll be followed a management update again in the Commissioners Boardroom at 9:30. Oh, even more. Then we have a Health and Human Services Policy meeting at 2 o'clock in the Commissioners Boardroom on Tuesday the 9th. And then 3 o'clock to 4, Mid-Valley Economic Recovery Team. Next Wednesday, 9 o'clock, board session, Senator Hearing Room, 1st floor, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. That's followed by a policy meeting at 11, Commissioners Boardroom, and a SEDCOR monthly lunch. I don't know how you do this, Zoom meeting, and that'll be at noon. So, it is getting busier. Usually, after the budget, we haven't actually approved it yet. Oh, so that no wonder. Yeah, life gets better after the budget gets all approved and done. Yeah, you'll see that. I hope. I hope.
I remember Sam telling me that when I was thinking about taking on this job. We had met before I actually got here, and I was asking him about, what it's like and schedule and all that. And he goes, oh, yeah, after the budget, it's just like we kind of cruise.
I didn't say it like
well,
that.
Well, it wasn't that, but it was like the budget's, you're working up to the budget, but then after that, it's like a little bit of a
climax of each year.
Yeah, a little bit of the work goes down. And I remember, like, after my first year or second year, I looked at him in the middle of summer and I go, when does it ever quit? When does it cruise? When do you?
Well, you're on. He just didn't recognize cruise when he was in it. That's all.
Yeah.
We certainly haven't been cruising recently, that's for sure. We've been working our brains out.
All right.
Okay, well, I don't think we have anything else, right?
Has anybody seen the space station fly over
really?
at night?
No.
Yeah, the last night it was not good because it came a little too early, but the night before, I think it was like 10:10, and we were sitting on Paul O'Donnell's, which his mom makes these things, up on his deck at the lake. And it was really neat because it just like cruised right across the sky. The moon was up there, and there it went. Yeah. So thinking that there's people out there.
I feel like I told you this. We were in the sleds, I think it was 2 years ago, and dusk, just get down to the boat and said, what is that? And then figured out that it had to be the space station. But got watching, it came right, like it's coming right up the river. And then there was a little dot following it. I said, Larry was with it. There's two things coming right in line. Then it turned out, we look on the news, and it was a Japanese crew coming to join it. You literally could see them.
Wow.
Not like they're gaining on it, but they're definitely lined up. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. It was a big deal when that SpaceX rocket got there, because I think that's the first reusable rocket that has delivered humans to the International Space Station. That's a big deal.
Yeah. I have, never mind, I'm not going to say, I was just not watching the news.
Oh, you're not?
No,
yeah.
I just.
Yeah. I noticed your
I know,
comment.
I heard they got delayed. Did they go off?
They went on Saturday.
So they made it to the space station?
Yeah.
So is that what I was looking at on, so this is Tuesday, so it would have been Monday night. Were they there Monday night?
Yeah,
Oh.
they were there. Yeah, it's a big deal.
So you're hiding out. You're ducking your head down in Detroit, not even looking out the window.
He's happy. Do you see how well rested he is?
Oh, maybe that's.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay, I'll try it.
How productive he's been at work.
I don't know about that, but how rested I am. But yeah, it's certainly a different world living up there when things are happening down here. And Monday, well, after you called me, Jan, I was on the phone. I don't know, talked to the governor, Courtney, sheriff several times, Kevin Campbell, just trying to help out. Interesting times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll adjourn.
From Northwest Artists. Let's welcome today's guest, Boxing Day.